Hi, folks. Welcome to the Prepared Homestead. This is Travis. Thank you all for stopping by to watch. Do you know what your ESG score is? Do you know what it is? Do you know what an ESG score is? Because if you don't know what an ESG score is, you better be catching up because it is the new, biggest, coolest thing. And it's probably going to be with us for a very, very long time. And I encourage you to learn about it because it's going to be spun to you as a really great thing. It's going to just help society. It's going to end famines. It's going to make people all equal, and it will end hate. And it's going to be the greatest thing since sliced bread. That's what I suspect they're going to spin it as because they kind of already are. And you need to get aware of it because it's been one of those things throughout all of this globalist New World Order stuff that we talk about. It's one of those things that kind of gets overlooked. It's not getting, not talked about a whole lot. I've talked about it some. I should talk about it more. Probably the biggest voice that I have heard talking about it in detail is probably Glenn Beck. And from the things that I've heard him say, I agree with most all of it on the ESG stuff. So that would be a good place to look. But this it's been around for a little while, but it really started getting traction and hearing people talk about it about a year ago or so. And of course, it was spun that it was just for businesses, not for individuals. But that is starting to change also, and we're going to look into that because ESG is something that you need to know about, and I'll explain it a little bit, and then we'll get into some other stuff. Before that, I want to talk about a few things in the news, or it's not, well, it's a little bit of the news, but it's all connected to this stuff, okay? So I want to bring that in so that you get a little bit fuller view of all the stuff going on. This article here, one of you sent this to me. And I am not familiar with this website. I'm sure some of you are. I don't know anything if I agree with what this website says and does. But this article, I agree with it. Digital ID and why it is the yoke being slipped over your neck. It's a pretty good article, but down here, let me scroll down, has a quote here from the Executive Vice President of Business Development for Microsoft Corporation. And this woman said, well, I don't know her identity or gender and everything, so should I assume her gender? But her name's Peggy, so I'm going to just assume that's a woman, right? Maybe it's a boy named Sue. Closing the identity gap is an enormous challenge. The identity gap. I've heard of wealth gap, but identity gap? It will take the work of many committed people and organizations coming together across different geographies, sectors, and technologies. But it's exciting to imagine a world where safe and secure digital identities are possible, providing everyone with an essential building block to every right and opportunity they deserve. And the person in this article says the key word here is deserve. Because what you deserve will certainly be different than what other people deserve. It's Animal Farm for humans. So this is all part of this fourth industrial revolution, the new transhumanism, Great Reset, Agenda 2030, New World Order, Beast System. It's all one and the same, folks. And so this digital ID is something that they are pushing pretty hard and heavy, and we're starting to see it. I mean, they're using it in other countries. It is available in the United States, but it's not an official ID. I mean, if you want to have it, you can. But it's coming. Global central banks, they raised their holdings of gold to the highest level since 1974. We've been hearing about this all year, but this particular one, it's talking about just the month of October. I've been reading that every quarter, and this past quarter, they bought the most gold, central banks as a whole, not just our central bank, but all central banks. This last October, central banks added 31 tons of gold to their international reserves. Why are they doing this? I mean, central banks have now stockpiled gold, the highest since 1974, which is, kind of after that gold standard thing stopped, right? and it's all of a sudden they're running back to gold. So we've had, 50 years almost or so of gold-free currency, and all of a sudden everyone's running back to it. And private individuals are buying gold and silver in large quantities, a lot. I've talked to companies, private companies that sell to individuals like you and I, and they are record sales. People are buying it up. Why is that? Maybe it's because they know something's going on. Maybe they know that the current monetary system is collapsing, and the one that's being slated to take its place is the digital one, and that's even worse. So the only thing that most people can run to that offers some level of monetary security is gold and silver. And so that's why they're doing that. Speaking of the digital D, this is an older article, okay? This is back in August. Ooh, that's so long ago. Way, way back in August. But I wanted to pull this up because there's still some of you that are like, this digital currency stuff, it's not going to happen. Well, it's called the Fed now here in the United States. Each country, each central bank, they're calling it their own little name. So Fed now is what it's called here, and it's scheduled for mid-2023 launch. Okay, so if you don't believe that it's going to happen, there it is, centralbanking.com. Fed now is scheduled for a mid-2023 launch. It could happen sooner. I mean, if the dollar collapses between now and then, it could happen sooner. And then there's all kinds of articles on it right now because this week India released theirs to the general public. They're testing it, but it is available to the general public. And up till now, most of these nations, their CBDCs have been used for interbank transactions and big wholesale corporate transactions. But India, it has released theirs to the public. And there are videos online that you can watch of people going into businesses in India, and they'll have a little QR code that they scan their phone with, and they purchase an item with India's CBDC, all digital. So they're lining up. Now, why I say all this to you is because the next thing is this ESG stuff. And the ESG goes hand in hand with this. You know how we've talked about the digital currency stuff where they can control your money. They can control what you purchase. They can control how much money you have, the value of your money. If you have $1 now, US dollar, it's worth a US dollar, right? I mean, but what if I say that your US dollar is only worth 50 cents and you over there, your US dollar is worth 85 cents, and you over there, you have some minority status, so yours is worth $1.25. You see, that's what they can do. And one of the things that they're going to use to do that with is ESGs or social credit scores. Many of you are familiar with social credit scores. They have been around for a while in China. They have been using that. They monitor everything you do in China, every internet post that you do, and they rate it on if it's environmentally sound, if it's pro-government, anti-government, if it's socially positive or not. They actually have scanners at most trash cans, like outside apartments where you dump your trash, and they will determine how much food you've wasted. Did you buy 1.5 pounds of chicken and you wasted a 1/4 pound of it? You threw it out, and or if you bought 5 cucumbers and one of them went bad before you ate it and you threw it away, that's a negative against your social credit score. So they're even scanning people's garbage. They're monitoring every aspect of their life, and most of you are aware of that because we've known about this for several years now. Well, it's coming to our shores, but it's not coming. It's actually here, and it's in the form of called the ESG, which stands for Environmental Social Governance. We're seeing lots of companies have these scores, and the other day when I was talking about Tractor Supply and a lot of other YouTube channels were all talking about Tractor Supply. Yes, what they did, what that one store did is awful, but corporately, it's right on their website, as well as many other big corporations. It's not just Tractor Supply. I'm not just singling them out. I was just using them as an example. You can go to many large corporate websites, and they will have there where they talk openly about their ESG score and what they are doing to improve their ESG score. And it's all based on how, much you love the environment, how environmentally clean you are and green you are. Social is, are you, about diversity and inclusion, and do you give money to drag queen, shows for children, and do you promote LGBTQ plus XYZ, 1, 2, 3 policies in your company? All this kind of stuff. That's the social stuff, And then the governance is, are you a lefty woke liberal policy? Does your company support that? And the more of those things that you do, the higher the score that you get. And why that is so important is because so many now of the banks and the lenders and other places that big businesses do business, they're basing it's like a credit score, okay? When you go and you try to get a home loan, if your credit score is 450, you're going to have a real hard time, right? Probably not going to happen. If your credit score is 650, you might be able to get a loan, but you're probably going to pay more. Your interest rate isn't going to be as low, and so you're not going to qualify for as much of a loan, and you're going to pay more for that loan. If your credit score is 750 or 850 or whatever, then you're going to get a really good loan, right? You're going to get a good interest rate that's keeps the cost down. Any fees, you're going to qualify for more money. It's the same thing. So the higher your ESG score is, the more money they will lend you, the more cash flow that they will inject into your business. And of course, businesses exist on debt, just like our whole system is based on debt. And if they don't have that inflow of cash, that debt-based cash, the business will go under. And so they're pressured, really forced to increase their ESG score. I mean, that's all that it is. It's they have to increase their ESG score, and if they want to play with the big boys, basically. CNBC, which I know is such an upstanding publication, and again, this is way back in January. Look at that, updated January 12th, 2022. So this is almost a year ago now. But you can find up-to-date numbers. And what this is, it's called the Just 100 list, meaning just, they're good. Not just as in it doesn't mean anything, but just as in they're good. They're good. This is Research Just Capital's annual analysis of corporate performers, a comprehensive ranking of companies on ESG issues. So you can find the top 100 companies in the United States. Of course, the number one is Google. My opinion is I would support a company that has a lower rating on this. So I'm going through here looking like, all right, who's the lowest rated? Intel, Microsoft, Salesforce, Bank of America, PayPal, Apple, NVIDIA, Verizon, Cisco Systems, Exelon, PepsiCo, MasterCard. I mean, it just goes on and on and on. Ford, General Motors is on there, of course. Let's go down to the bottom. Let's see what the last few are. Whoops. Here we go. NASDAQ, Best Buy's down there. Capital One is down towards the bottom. Kimberly-Clark, Target. Target's in the 100. So they made it into the top 100. And I'm sure that you'll see much more transgender clothing lines for children at Target, so that it gets them higher up on that list. This is a bad deal, folks. And a lot of people keep saying, well, this is just for businesses. This is bad. I don't like this, but it's just for businesses. It's just for banks, for companies, and this isn't for us. It's not like social credit scores for individuals. But I'm telling you, it's going to get that way because we're already seeing what is your personal ESG score and why should you care? There's all kinds of articles. Just get online and search ESG scores for individuals. And there's just more articles than you care to read. And of course, this goes on and tries to sell you why, social factors, governance factors, political contributions, board diversity. Here, let's look at the human rights, diversity, representation of different races, genders, disabilities, blah, blah. Stakeholders. Oh, there's that word, stakeholders. That's a Klaus Schwab word. Being considered of the communities and environment they operate in. So that's governance. I guess I missed there's the environmental. I missed that one. Environmental impact, natural resources, climate change initiatives. These are all the things that you involve yourself in. And the more lefty woke you are, the higher your ESG score is. And then you're going to do better in life. And eventually, it could be that it's how you can move around, how you can buy things, how you can go places, how you can, get a house, get an apartment, because that's the way it is in other places like China. It's happening. Environmental, social, and governance, investing, and how to get started. So this teaches you. There's articles out there that teaches you. This is from NerdWallet, which is a popular website for especially the younger crowds to do their finances. So there's a article there, and it tells you why it matters, why ESG matters. There's other websites, how to calculate your ESG score. You can log in, and of course now it's not required. It's voluntary. It's a voluntary system. It's required for businesses, basically. If they want to get loans and keep their doors open. But for individuals, it's voluntary for now. Kind of like the digital ID is voluntary for now in this country, but it's coming, folks. It's coming. And the reason why we need to know this kind of stuff is because this is all part of the greater system of this, global order that is being talked about very openly now. This is all part of the digital currency stuff that's being talked about. This is all part of, one world government, one world global control, one world, currency, one world everything. One world, shots in your arms. It's all there, and it's all moving us closer to a day where, the bad guys are in full control. And when that happens, we are in the end times. We are in those times where we're seeing this happen, but we're watching it now. And so the reason why I bring this up to you is so that you're aware of it. I can't tell you necessarily, or I shouldn't tell you necessarily, to not do business with companies that, are fighting for a good ESG score, because it's getting to the point that you may not be able to do business with a lot of people. Most of your local family-owned businesses probably don't care because they're working with maybe local banks that may not care as much, but that's going to change too, especially when this digital currency stuff happens. Then it's going to change everything. It's all coming at us. This digital world is coming at us so fast, folks, and most people just don't get it. They're still denying it. They still deny it, or they think it's a long way off, or they think it's not going to be as bad. My opinion is they're wrong. Maybe I'm wrong, but I'm pretty sure that they're wrong on this. It is coming at us quite quickly, and you need to be getting your houses in order, preparing yourselves mentally, physically, and spiritually, folks, because this is attacking all of it. Thank you for watching, and I'll catch you in the next video.